What's going on, guys? It is LSU Recruiting HQ here. It is November 27th, 2022, the Sunday after the final regular season games of the year. LSU drops their final contest last night to Texas A&M. And man, this one hurts. This one hurts a lot. It was a tough game to watch unfold. You could kind of feel it in the air all day. Um, I said it to myself several times. It was almost like, it didn't even feel like LSU was playing that day. Like, it just felt like, they were just going to breeze through. And, man, if this isn't another prime example of what college football is, man, there's just no any given Saturday, anything can happen, and LSU got yesterday, man. They came in there sleepwalking, and A&M is a still a talented team, and A&M just dominated the football game from start to finish. I mean, LSU really. This was a game where I kind of expected this to be in reverse, A&M just came in and ran the ball for 274 yards on LSU's defense, who stopped teams like Ole Miss, Alabama, all these teams from running the football. And yesterday, man, the want to the it and the cutback lanes, they were all open, and A Chain had an amazing game, rushed for over 200 yards, 38 carries. And like I said, man, A&M didn't hide what they were trying to do. Um, they just lined up and they ran it right at you. They were getting decent amount of yards, making it third and manageable, not asking the quarterback to do too much. And when it was time for him to make plays, he ended up making plays. Moose Muhammad had the amazing catches on the third and long in the fourth quarter to put him up 3 scores, and then the touchdown catch to put him up 2 scores. Both of those were amazing catches. Just some nights you run into problems like a buzzsaw, like you did last night, where one team plays, probably their best game of the year, and LSU probably plays at least their worst game defensively of the year. Um, and it was tough. It was tough to, because this team, it felt like this one was one you couldn't afford to lose. Out of all the games you've played this year, this one felt like the one you needed the most to captivate what you've accomplished. And I'm not gonna be that guy to sit up here today and talk about the whole season is a waste, and none of that stuff even matters anymore because you lost this game. Because what LSU did this year was truly remarkable. Beating Alabama, making it to the SEC championship in Brian Kelly's first year, a very incomplete team completed very high goals in year one, and it's very impressive what this team did. But that doesn't mean that this game is excusable, because it's not. Um, there's no excuse with what you have to play for and what you have on the line that you should come into these types of games flat. And that's what Brian Kelly's been talking about all year, right? It is all about your preparation, it is all about your mindset. If you go into these games, especially SEC games, on the road, I don't care who you're playing. It can be Vanderbilt, it can be Kentucky, it can be Missouri, it can be A&M. It does not matter. This league is the best league in college football for a reason. The best players in the world come and play in these institutions in this conference. Every single team in this conference has guys that are going to play in the NFL. That's not like that in every other conference, right? Um, A&M is going to have multiple players drafted playing in the NFL in the next coming years. That team has talent, right? Every team has talent. And every time you line up and play a football game, you have that opportunity to get beat, right? This isn't, some FCS school just because of what their record says they are. Um, that team had nothing to lose last night, and they were going to pull out everything they could to win, and they made it a point to try to beat you, and you didn't match that level of intensity, and it showed. Because to me, stopping the run, right, when a team just lines it up and runs the ball at you, that is a it's a it takes the big boys. You gotta want to stop the run, right? Teams that aren't good at stopping the run, they just get leaned on all game. Eventually, one of your guys has to go in there and make plays. I'm not saying LSU didn't make enough plays. Obviously, this game turned um, after the turnover touchdown. That's really when this game, took a turn for the worse, and it was almost like, okay, this isn't good. You felt it at that very moment. You were like, this is not going to be good. Um, the lack of focus wasn't there. The execution wasn't there. And you felt like, LSU was one play away from just taking control of the game. You come out from the third, or you're down 17-10 at half. You come out, get a 3 and out. You go down, score a touchdown, make it 17-7. You get the ball back after another stop, right? And then you fumble, right? On a drive where you're moving the ball, you're at about midfield. You get that first down, and who knows how that drive turns out, but you give A&M 7 points right there and really give them momentum to think like, hey guys, if we could just keep going, we have a chance. I always say the longer you let somebody hang around like A&M, the more belief they get, the more dangerous they become, and like I said, they started playing with confidence and started making plays, and LSU just couldn't match them. For the first time all year, they couldn't overcome the losses that they had put upon themselves late in that game. And like I said, man, I don't want to harp too much on the game because it is still fresh and it still hurts. Um, but man, this one sucks. Like personally, I was telling everybody last night, man, it was one of those things where I wish they could have just lost to anybody else. I wish we could have just lost the game to Arkansas, lost the game to Auburn, one of those close games. Like, why did it have to be A&M? Because every year we're going to have to hear about this shit, and it is, oh, it's just a pain in the butt, man. A&M is just not on our level, and we continuously let them think that they are. Um, Even in their worst years, they still find a way to hang around and beat us. So, I mean, they ruined any chances of LSU making the playoffs. Um, Probably after next week, LSU's hopes of getting a New Year's Six game are probably going to be vanished. And you're probably going to be playing in a Citrus Bowl, a very unmotivated team playing in a Citrus Bowl. And, you're looking at this season at 9-3 right now. You could easily get matched up with a team in a bowl game and then end up being 9-5. Like, let that sink in for a second. Like, this team that was 9-2, number 5 team in the country, could very easily finish this season off with 3 straight losses if they get matched up with a good team in the bowl game and lose that game. Um, and that, like I said, man, the high water mark of always reaching that 10 wins mark in the regular season is such an accomplishment. It just doesn't happen very often. And it's something to be celebrated, and I was so looking forward to, that being the stepping stone. Same thing with 2018. This 2018 and 2022 team are kind of similar in ways, that they're not flashy. They just kind of get the job done, and they've done that all season. And then you come into this A&M game, and man, you just you have the chance to win the 10th game in that game, and you just piss down your leg. And like I said, man, it was nothing that you know A&M didn't throw any crazy wrinkles in there, man. They just lined up and they just ran it right at us, and we didn't have an answer for it the whole game. It was a tough sight to see. I'm still, man, like I said, I'm still super proud uh, of what this team accomplished. There's no doubt in my mind that they've overachieved. I believe I had them at 8-4. So I mean, they exceeded my expectations. They probably exceeded everyone's expectations. There's nobody in their right mind that would have said 2 months ago that this team would be in a position on the last game of the year to be fighting for a playoff spot, and playing for a SEC championship. So like when the pain wears off and you sit back and you realize what this team in the long term has accomplished, right? It feels like you left a lot on the table with this game, but you feel that the long term big picture, you've done what you needed to do, and you've accomplished way more than you were supposed to. Um, and once these recruiting cycles start getting better and better, and you start finding out who's going to the draft, who's staying, and you start thinking about next year and the year after that, this team, the way it's constructed now, is not built to win a championship. Let's be honest here. LSU was never, even if they would have made the playoffs, right? LSU was never going to be one of the top four teams in the country, right? There's all, there's probably 6 or 7 teams that are better than LSU. Um, but that's just not how the rankings work. It's all about when you win and who you beat and all that good stuff. And LSU was sitting in a great spot. But, I'm always the biggest believer with these playoffs. Everybody talks about the playoff scenarios and this and that. And what happens if all these teams tie? And it never works out like that. Um, it is always, it'll always work itself out where the committee does not face with a tough decision. Very rarely is there a decision that needs to be made. It's always clear cut. These are my 4 teams, and it's going to be like that again this year. You're going to have a clear cut 4 teams. LSU was not meant to be one of those 4 teams. And as hard as that is to sit here and admit, it is the absolute truth. LSU, with the roster they have now, is not good enough to compete with the top 4 teams in the country. Now, we'll find out at SEC championship game. I might be wrong, and they might give Georgia a good game, but, as of right now, the way this team is constructed, they're just not there, yet. That's not saying they're not gonna be there, but they are not at that point yet, and the inconsistency is something that good teams have bad games every now and then, where they have hit a lull or something like that. But as consistent LSU's been, as consistent as LSU has been inconsistent, just shows you that it was just a matter of time before they ended up getting tripped up. Like I said, it was one of those where I just wish it didn't happen to A&M, man. I just wish it would have happened to Arkansas or Auburn or somebody else, man. And we could have just got on with our lives then. Instead, I'm gonna have to hear about this shit all season about how A&M got this big behind win. Like, in the grand scheme of things, this game didn't mean a damn thing. It meant way more to LSU than it'll ever mean for A&M. A&M is still not going to a bowl game, still not doing anything worth the shit this year. All it just means is LSU didn't accomplish, what they had set out as a goal, of making the playoffs. So, with that being said, that is going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and leave your comments. Let me know what you guys thinking about next week. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling down? Do you need a hug? Whatever y'all need, man, I'm here. Just let me know. And like I said, man, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I'll be here. We'll be previewing the SEC championship game this week, and I will see you guys then, man. Have a great rest of your weekend, and hopefully the Saints can get a dub for us today.